Hello, nerds. Welcome to BingeWorthy, part of the Geekish Network. This is the show where we binge a show in the week to let you know if you should or not. And today we're doing something interesting. It's just me and Centel. Say what's up to people, Centel.
Man, I'm never an and just. We are the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we are the show. We are the show. We're going to talk about Solo Leveling, not only season 2, but also season 1, because we never did the show on season 1.
Oh.
So we're talking about both season 1 and season 2.
Okay.
I think it merits both of them to have a discussion. And this is just me and you having a conversation. We can talk about what the show is, what we think of the show, then give our rating at the end. We don't have to give it at the beginning. There's only 2 of us. And I'm pretty sure I know what our ratings are probably going to be. Solo Leveling, if y'all are not familiar with, is based on the manhwa. That means it's kind of Korea. That Chugong, I think what's the guy's name? Chugong. Yeah, I got it right. Chugong. He's the author of it. It's a very popular manhwa. It's action portal fantasy. That's a whole new genre, portal fantasy. It's not an isekai, it's a portal fantasy. For those that know what isekai is, that means you get transported to another world. This one is you going to another world and you stay in your real world.
You just schooled me on something new.
Yes. The Korean fantasy is published by DNC Media, web novel, English, online, and Yen Press just grabbed it too. You can't find it anywhere online right now. They pulled it off because of the popularity of the show. It's running on Crunchyroll exclusively right now in the United States as an anime. It is an anime. It's done by A1 Pictures.
Okay.
So A1 Pictures is the actual animation studio, and that studio has done some very interesting things for us. It's done Black Butler. It's done one of my favorite animes of all time, Recoil Licorice.
I did not know that, and I love Recoil. Look, you put me onto that, and that joint was heat. That was fire. Yeah.
They did Persona Trinity. The Persona ones. Nier Automata. What else did they do? Let me find one that I think that's really good. Maji, the Kingdom of the Magic. I already said Black Butler. That's the big one. Gunslinger. Erased. They did Erased too, based on the manga Kei Sanabe.
I have not seen that yet, but I've heard great things about it. Yeah, I actually have it queued up. Erased. Yeah. It's one of those that's like rated super high on IMDb too. It's got well, we'll talk about that with Solo Leveling and their IMDb scores and all that too. But yeah, they drop us some quality stuff, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, A1 is really doing it. Blue Exorcist, Kyoto Saga, Grand Blue Fantasy, the animation. They've done a lot of good. Fate and Acrophia, based on the light novel from Yuichiro Higashide. So the animation studio is top tier. It's a top tier studio. And Solo Leveling came out and nobody saw it coming. People saw a couple of the trailers, people were interested in it. If y'all don't know, it's a portal fantasy. That means that in this world, in Korea, in the world in general, just not in Korea, Japan, everywhere, portals open up and they're really dungeons, and people go into the dungeons to kill what's in the dungeons to cause it to close down, because whatever can come into the dungeon can eventually leak out of the dungeon. And we follow our young champion. What's his name?
Oh, you talking about
Sung Jin-woo.
Yeah, Sung Jin-woo. Yeah.
He starts off as an E-class adventurer into the dungeons, and E-class is pretty low, you guys. It's pretty low. It goes up to E to A. Then when you get to the top class, it's S. Usually when you're in the class, that's what you're stuck in, and you have to survive. E-class is like the cleaner. That's the guy that carries the equipment.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally kind of like what he's doing. He is kind of like a cleanup crew for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're good enough just to be allowed into some of the levels, but you're not really doing any fighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in this world, blue dungeons, you're allowed to go in, but
Hmm.
let that dungeon turn red. And that's when you're supposed to be an S class.
Right.
There's only so many S classes. In Korea, they have what, 10? They had
Yeah.
10.
Each. Yeah. Yeah. So an S class is a super powered version of people that do these types of dungeon crawling, and they're so powerful that they are actually considered like national treasures in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like your strength as a world power in this world kind of depends on how many S level hunters or dungeon crawlers that you have. That's how powerful S level people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get measured. They have an exam, they put you in, they test you, and you get measured for what class you are in. And very few times you're rebirthed, and the rebirth occurs. That means you go up a level or two.
Yeah, and it's very, very, very rare. Like one of the things that makes this world interesting is that whatever level that you have that you're born with is what you have. There is no real vertical movement. Like you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like 99% of the people
Sometimes.
are
Mm-hmm.
stuck. But every now and then there's a very rare, very, 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 very rare occurrence where you can have a rebirth. And that's
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Yeah. Where you can
Yeah.
actually get a different class. Yeah.
So yeah.
Um,
So in this
um,
series, to start off, um, I guess we'll probably spoil. We're gonna probably have some spoilers in here since it's just us two talking.
right.
Um, First things first, Sung Jin Woo goes to a dungeon with his team,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of enamored with the healer. She's a E class healer. She's not a strong healer
Yeah.
at the time, and they go into a room, and the room has statues,
Mm. Mm.
and then the statues come to life. This is how they start the series off, you guys. Some of the stronger hunters try to run. They don't make it too far. They don't make it too far. The other hunters try to run. They don't make it too far.
Mm.
And he devises a plan to get the few that are still alive out. Because you can die. And when you die, you're dead. And before they take his life, the screen goes blank. And then he wakes up. Right? He
Mm-hmm.
did a noble thing. He sacrificed himself to get the other people out the dungeon. But when he wakes up, he sees a screen in the air. He sees a layer. He sees the UI layer that nobody else can see.
Mm-hmm.
And he hits it to continue the quest. And everything changes for him then.
Mm.
It's such an interesting premise.
Yeah.
So he sees the game layer,
Yeah.
and nobody else can see it but him. And that changes everything about him because he's a mage type, right? That's what initially they made him a mage type. So if you watch Dungeons and Dragons, everything there is like it's based like warrior type, healer type, mage type. You're a tank. You're this. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like an RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And he's no longer that anymore. He's whatever he wants to be, it seems like. He starts out doing push-ups and sit-ups. He's a scrawny little kid. He's in the hospital healing. He's doing push-ups and sit-ups. He gets super buffed. All the nurses are going crazy over him. Like, who's this guy? What's he doing? And it's just him doing what the UIs told him to do. Do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, run, 100,000 steps or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
just doing what it tells him to do, and he's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And he joins a crew. He joins a crew, and he's a side character in the crew, and he thinks he's an E class, and he gets pointers on how to beat the demons, right? And some other interesting things happen to him. He can understand when the demons talk. He understands he can talk to them, and he can understand what's going on in the world because he has a UI layer, right? And as you watch him, have you ever seen the movie Collateral,
Yeah.
where the kids get their superpowers and they grow into them and playing with them?
Yeah. That was Michael
He,
B. Jordan's first big one, right?
yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Collateral. He's growing into the superpowers, and nobody knows. He keeps it completely hidden. He doesn't want the guilds because they have guilds, just like an RPG. They have guilds, and he doesn't want the guilds to know. He doesn't want anybody to know that he's training, getting better. He has one character. What's the other character? The guy, the kid that's part of the family that owns a guild.
Oh, I forgot his name. Yeah, it's a rich.
Sungjin,
Yeah, yeah. It's oh gosh, it'll come to me in a second. Um, yeah, it's a kid that he comes from a wealthy family.
wealthy family. Yeah, he
Yeah.
has the armor on.
Hmm.
He's like a C class. He really wants to prove to his father that he can run the company. And so he cuts a deal with Sung Jin Woo, Sung Jin Woo's family, right? Cuts a
Hmm.
deal. Hey, Sung Jin Woo said, "Me and you can go into the dungeons together, but you can't bring nobody else. And I got you.
Mm.
Don't worry, I got you."
Mm.
And there was some reason, because Sung Jin Woo had saved the kid before in the dungeon,
Hmm.
he runs with him. Would you have gone with him? Would you took that deal?
No.
Just me and you, dog. We're
No.
going to. I go. Centel, hey, me and you. I'm going to this dungeon. We can't bring nobody else.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll clear it.
Yeah, but I mean, but you got a chance to see, like, if I saw you, like, I have absolutely like beast out, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, like, way above your pay grade,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, yo, we can still go and get clear these dungeons ourselves, and I can handle all the main stuff, and and then you can, take in on some of the spoils because these dungeons are lucrative, right? Like,
Yeah, they're very lucrative.
there's rare elements, rare magical things that can be sold on the black market. Um, so it's a business into itself. So if you got
Mm-hmm.
somebody where you don't need to have like a huge team, and I'm walking around, and I see you, Chuck, and you're an animal, and you can walk around and just slay everything. Maybe, because then
Mm-hmm.
all the spoils are yours. You only split it like between like two people. So maybe
Yes.
I don't know.
And he needs him in order to go in, because just to justify why you can go in. And
Yeah,
as an E class, you can't justify going to any dungeon by yourself. It
no,
doesn't make sense. So you need cover.
yeah, yeah,
And this guy's the cover. It kind of feels like if you well in the Monsterverse,
mhm,
Monarch, you
yeah.
kind of feel like you're part of Monarch, and you don't want anybody to know that you're super strong in Monarch.
I can see
Um,
that. Okay,
so he has this awakening. We know our main character has this awakening.
okay.
His mother is asleep. She got bit by she got put into a disease state called eternal sleep, and
Mhm.
she can't move. And he wants to wake her up. That's his whole goal is to figure a way to wake up his mother. It's his sister goes. It's him and his sister. His sister goes to school, and he's just there trying to grind a little money to keep his mother in the hospital and pay for the hospital
Mhm.
and take care of his sister. What do you think of our main character, Centel? What do you think of Sung Jin Woo when you first see him?
The character overall, I really enjoy. I think he does a really good job of carrying the entire series because you get to not just see his growth and the skills that he acquires, but you get to physically see him change. It's one of those things you don't really see a lot. Um, when you first get introduced to him, he looks like this pushover. Looks like somebody that you take his lunch money, kick him in his pants, send him on his way. He looks like somebody that
Mm-hmm.
should be bullied.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he finally, starts realizing that after he does his sacrifice and his life changes, even in the hospital he looks a little bit different. He
Mm-hmm.
maybe looks a little bit older. I think they even mentioned that he looks a little bit taller, and then
Mm-hmm.
as the story progresses he looks more and more like he should be taken seriously. So
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that you get to see like his physical growth, and you get to see him mentally change too, because that where's that old adage with power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to see somebody that initially is this innocent thing, this person that's just happy to be there, just trying to do the best thing for his family, acquire power, and not just power, a different type of power that's different from everybody else in this world. Because, like we said earlier, what class you're at, you're kind of stuck at. There's no really growth. But he is in a rare case where he can still keep leveling up. It's the name, solo leveling. He can just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And as he gets stronger, the character starts changing, and that's kind of cool because you don't really know what he's going to do. You don't really know what his intentions are. He keeps his cards kind of close to the chest. And I also like the cool thing about him is that he gets to explore the growth of his power, kind of like how we do, through the heads up systems that you see, through the money that he sees, through the gear that he has. Oh, cool thing about the manhwa is that you can actually read the stats on some of the weapons that he gets, the armory that he gets, some of the cool little items. You can see the level on it. Like, so you're actually kind of like playing the game with this character. And so as he's having fun and experimenting and uncovering new things, so are we, the kind of the viewer. I think it's a very cool and unique way to kind of go about, getting to know Sung Jin Woo.
Yeah, yeah. And you do get to see him change. He physically changes. You see him go from this character that's just happy to be there to I am him. He turns into Himothy. He turns into Himothy.
Oh, yeah, early.
early on. It's not late neither. He goes he goes training with his sister, fresh out of the hospital. And she's like, "What?" And he's toying around with her. Like everything is the game now to him. Because it tells him exactly what he needs to do.
Yes.
You need to do this, you need to do this. Fulfill this quest, you need to do this, you get this, we're gonna give you this, blah, blah, blah. He has no idea why he has it. And initially he questions it, like, why do I have this? All of a sudden that stops. He doesn't question anything.
It's like, all right, well, I've got this thing. Let's work it to its fullest. Let's work it to the max.
He has one of the biggest things was when he has the option to resurrect for the first time. And it changes his class, changes his ability. And as any person that plays RPG, you wonder, do I do this or do I not do this? He thought about it and he did it. And it changed everything about him. Everything. Even his grin turned into like more of a scowl when he did it. And I haven't read the manhwa. I have not read the manhwa. And I don't want to read the manhwa just because I want to see if this character turns evil. He goes from the mage type that's slightly turned into a warrior to a warrior type that comes a necromancer. Not to spoil it for anybody, but necromancy changes you completely. The moment you realize you can resurrect the dead and make it do what you want it to do, and it plays just full fealty to you, and it can never die again as long as you're alive. That says a lot. And he has this ability, and he doesn't want anybody to know about it, which is even more shocking. He's like, I want nobody to know about this.
I mean, but can you blame him? He's still trying to get his footing.
Yeah,
because as in the earlier, as he's kind of dealing with his humanity a little bit later on in the seasons. But in the beginning, when he's still trying to figure out like what is this thing, he doesn't want to tell anybody because it'll get blown out of proportion. He may not be able to discover it himself. He may not be able to move as freely. Also, there's a competition with these guilds, and the strength of your guild can determine kind of like your status in the world. And if you're still trying to figure out just what it is that you can do, you're not trying to have any kind of alliances with anybody, to be used by anybody, to not even keep your own agency. So he try to keep things to himself, and he's doing it for, like you said earlier, to his initial reason for doing it is to help his mother. At first it was just like, well, let me help my mother just be able to pay these bills. Let me help my sister be able to go to school. And then he gets offered, like the game is kind of paying attention maybe what's going on in his life. And was like, hey, we got this thing that can really help you without being too spoilery. And then once he starts realizing that maybe some of the items within the game itself can be used for other things, he becomes more and more invested. It's like the game just pulls him in more and more and more and more. Oh, let me stop talking, man. What's on your mind?
Oh no, no, no! I want you to keep talking. I want you to keep talking. I want you to keep talking. It does. Like he comes a part of this.
Yeah,
Like he's no longer somebody that hops in the portals. Everything's the game to him.
yeah. You know the thing. Go ahead, finish
Go
your
ahead,
thought.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, I was gonna say the thing that I really love about this. All right, so for me, if you've watched this, if you've watched me on BingeWorthy and on Geek Beast, you know that one of the gateway drugs, the gateway animes that got a lot of just the culture involved was Dragon Ball Z. And there's one specific thing in particular about Dragon Ball Z that really got the culture invested. They came out with this system called the Scouter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Dragon Ball the Scouter was used to determine somebody's power level. And at
Mm-hmm.
the time, it was a really unique thing. You knew people were tough, but there wasn't a way that you had a metric to kind of like determine it until the Scouter came. And it's like, oh, he's got a power level, it's over 5,000. And that really just had people like, oh my God, that is dope. You can actually measure how much of a
Mm-hmm.
badass somebody is. Well, solo leveling kind of does a really cool, kind of more, I don't want to say complicated, but more refined way of determining power. It's not just power levels within the individual regarding strength. It's power levels with the equipment, with the things that you get, value. There's a trading and a bartering system that's involved. It's really cool to look at because you can kind of know where people stand, at least on the mortal level, and things get a little bit more advanced. That kind of
Mm-hmm.
gets thrown out the window a little bit. But it just reminded me of having that feeling. It's like I know where Jinwoo stands because I can see you literally see the number level of his value going up. You can see how much magic power he has. You can see all of these stats, and
Mm-hmm.
he's leveling these things up, and it's just fun. If you're a fan
Yeah.
of like Dungeons and Dragons, it's one of the cool things
Mm-hmm.
about playing is you get to level up your character. Or even if you're
Yes.
playing like a role playing game on a video game, you got these stats that you can work towards in order to build this character up. And you don't really see that in a lot of other different type of animes. And this, for me, there may be others that do it this way, but for me, it was really kind of a unique experience to bring
Yep.
in that element to watch these characters grow.
Yeah. Also, it gave the dungeons purpose. Like, like when he finds Kim Cool, who
Mm.
he renamed Iron later. It
Oh,
was
that's
like a
right.
temple,
Yeah.
and he walks in, and it was about speed and dexterity,
Yeah.
and he had to fight the military of Kim Chul,
Mm-hmm.
and you could see the stats increasing.
Yeah.
And he had to sit there and battle and battle and battle. The outside world is worried about the anthill. He's in this dungeon just battling nonstop, battling,
Yeah.
and he disappears for days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He disappears for days, and he's trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
He's just so good at the game that nobody knows, and he's just battling, and then he fights Kim Chul, and he's up there looking at him, and Kim is like in his red armor, like, "Oh, you ready? Now you're ready for me." And man, that's an intense battle. And one thing this anime does better than anything else is
Mm.
leave your ass on the cliffhanger.
Oh man, when you see them feet
Oh,
get to walking,
you
oh,
get angry. You hear the
you be ready to
song.
throw
Everybody knows that song too. You're like,
you ready to
no,
throw something at the
no.
TV, yeah. You be like, oh, I know y'all not about to do me like this.
Yes.
It is some of the best cliffhangers I've seen in
Oh
quite some
man.
time. Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
man,
it's
because
so
it's
frustrating
not
though.
like Dragon Ball where somebody's talking and then they say tune in tomorrow for such
Yeah.
and such. Nah, nah. It'd be at a power up moment, and you'd be like, okay, he'd be like, I got it now. I think I got it. I think I got it.
I understand it
Eh,
now.
I understand it now. Or it'd be after he wins the battle,
Yeah.
and they says, oh, a new quest unlocks, a new
Yeah.
quest tree unlocks, and you're like, ah. No, don't
Yeah.
stop. Don't stop. Like
Yeah.
you now have such and such ability. and you see him pull the ability off for the first time, you're like, no, don't stop. I want to see what it does. I want to see what it does. It is, it takes video gaming to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels
It
like
really
a
does.
great, it feels like a great hybrid. If there was a project that could bring
Hmm.
in a hybrid of animation and video game playing, this is probably one of the closest things I've seen in a while because of that, because of the stat system
Yes.
and all the other stuff. You know what else I wanted to ask you about? Like, because you have a way more crisp eye than I do regarding like animation styles.
Hmm.
I don't have that type of eye that you have. So when I see it on the screen, it looks magical to me. I just think it looks absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
Is it are my eyes lying to me, or is there like some kinks in the
No,
armor?
they do something very interesting in this, right?
Mhm.
They definitely have momentum behind a lot of their scenes.
Okay.
So it's a lot of blur effects. A lot of blur effects. They cut out a couple of frames and they show the blur effect and show you where you are.
Mm,
Like for example, you'll see Iron, he'll be up against the wall and he's crouched back. Then boom, he's right behind Jin Woo. And you
mm,
see Jin Woo put his hand out to block him.
mm,
That's literally like 9 frames of animation.
mm,
But the way they make it work is they cheapen it with the blur effects and
mm.
race lines, which is
Ah.
part of the world. It's 3D into 2D,
Mhm.
and how they do it, I don't know how they figured that out because it
Okay.
looks all 2D,
Okay.
but you can definitely tell it's 3D with with the lighting. Um, it is a very inexpensive way to it's a less expensive way to do it,
Mhm.
but yet show emotion. This anime has a lot of emotion in all the fight scenes.
Mm.
Like Mappa does too, but they do that stuff by hand. You can
Yeah.
see they're very meticulous about every frame there.
Right.
And this is very interesting.
But doesn't that kind of like speak to the spirit and the core
Hmm.
of what anime is?
Hmm.
Like being able to do more with less and still show
Yes.
emotion? Okay.
Yes. A1 Pictures has pulled together a masterpiece of motion and movement. And the storytelling in this,
Hmm.
there's not really much of a story besides this kid just leveling up.
Hmm.
But we're all enthralled in it because we have no idea where it's going.
Right.
We watch we watch his attitude change.
Mm.
Like I tell everybody in season 2, there's a scene where he goes exchange
Mm.
and it cuts off.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to throw their furniture. Everybody wants to throw something at their TV at that
Yeah.
moment
Yeah.
because
Oh.
he's chilling.
Yeah.
He's literally chilling, and this plot it builds up to that point is amazing. The
Yeah.
scene that happens, what's going on, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna go with you guys." But you see earlier that our main character has a shadow army, and he
Mhm.
attaches a shadow to each of the S ranks he's in battle with.
Mm.
He attaches one of his shadows with each one of them. As he's battling them in an arena, battling one of them in an arena, he's attaching his shadows to each of them to protect them.
Mm. It's nasty work, boy.
It's nasty work.
It's
Like
dope.
you
Yeah.
all, I really don't. It's sort of like you see him get detached from humanity a little
Mm.
bit.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of see that. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna put him with you guys. I'm gonna see what y'all can do,
Yeah.
and I'll come in if you need me. And he's just there chilling on top of a building,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, he's just chilling on top of a building. Who he thinks he is, Spider Man? And he stands up and goes, exchange.
Yeah.
We have never seen that ability before, but we all knew what it meant when he did it, and we knew where it was going. And we were like, yes,
Yeah.
I want to see what happens here. It's
Yeah.
like watching your friend play a video game
Mm-hmm.
and them doing something magical you never seen before, and like Final Fantasy or Persona, then they hit the pause button, like, "I'll come back to this next week." You'll be like, "What? No,
You go with that
play,
ride, yeah.
play the game, finish the ride. You can't just stop me here." And I found that very interesting
Yeah.
because it's not that he just physically changes; you see him mentally change
Yeah.
as a person.
Talk to me about the brutality of the show.
The show's brutality is there. It lets you know that this place is really dangerous. and that anybody can get it. That makes it so special.
Mm,
They kick the show off that way.
mm,
The ending of episode one
mm,
is is a is a meat grinder,
mm,
and you see it, and
mm,
you're like, wow. They're like, we're gonna see if you're ready for this ride or not.
mm.
If you can get through see episode one and get to episode two, you'll be okay.
Yeah,
But this is how you know if it's for you or not.
yeah.
You
There was
know.
a in episode one. There was a meme that had been around for a little while. It's a meme of you see like these statues. It's like three of them, these big
Mm-hmm.
gigantic statues, and they're all just sitting there looking, posing. And then in front of them is a bunch of people kind of like kneeling. And that meme has been used for all kinds of stuff, for sports memes or
Mm-hmm.
TV video, whatever it is that is the best is those big gigantic statues, and then whatever it is that's subpar is the people that's like bowing towards his feet. I had no idea that that meme was in Solo Leveling. It was like
Mm-hmm.
in episode one when you ran up on the statues, and then they figured out, maybe, whatever the no, not the clues, but the oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for when you're trying to crack the code to get out of the dungeon? Well, anyways,
Decipher.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh my god, I've seen that meme like 1,000 times before, and I was like, it came from Solo Leveling.
Yeah.
Um, so even before the animation came out, it was kind of like meme worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about the response Solo Leveling has been getting in these social streets, man.
People are going crazy over it. This is such a big moment in anime because we're actually journeying with this character, watching him grow and change, and none of us know why.
Hmm,
And when you take it from that first episode, the statue that I don't say it kills him because it does something to him,
hmm,
has a menacing grin when he
hmm,
does do it, and we don't know what that means.
hmm,
We don't know what that means. My thoughts are they're turning him into a villain and he doesn't know it yet.
hmm,
And that sounds fascinating to me. Here it is, the hero, you're following the hero,
hmm,
and you think it's a hero,
hmm.
but they're like collateral, he's turning into a villain and he doesn't know it. He thinks he's doing good. And all of a sudden he has this layer given to the game, given to him, because the game said, we need a new villain because they're killing all our villains. Let's make one out of them. Because we don't know who is controlling the game.
No, we don't.
This whole entire time, we have no idea. Why is he able to see this? Why is he able to communicate with the creatures in the world?
Yeah.
There's a scene where he's out in the wilderness, in the dungeon in the wilderness,
Hmm.
and he's talking to the creatures.
Yeah.
And the creatures are like, we don't really want to fight you guys, but we're told we had to do it.
Right. Yeah.
We have to do it.
Who's
And we
pulling the
don't really want to
string?
do it.
Mm. Mm.
We do not have free will.
That's interesting.
And that's interesting,
Yeah.
right? Because here it is. They've been killing up these dungeons thinking these creatures have free will.
Hmm.
And we learn just in the episode, real quick, we don't have free will.
What does that mean? You have
What
all
does
this
that
power.
mean?
You think you have all of this power, but
Mm-hmm.
all of that power has been given. That's
Yep.
interesting.
Yep. We're
Oh.
told to attack you in particular. And then they start glitching, talking to him. Because he's not supposed to talk to them, we don't think.
Mm.
He's supposed to just kill them.
Mm.
And it's like, what's really going on in the shadows here?
Mm.
Because the guilds have no idea what's going on. They're trying to make S ranks and collect people. They're ceremonious about when somebody gets a new class rank. Or they're ceremonious about adding people to their guild.
Hmm.
Uh, all the guilds are they have total infighting inside their guilds, and
Hmm.
people have infighting across guilds.
Yeah.
Then the country's guilds,
Hmm.
like Japan. Japan was like, we're getting the fuck up out of here,
Hmm.
because Biru was massacring everything. Like, this is not our fight. We came here to help and support.
Hmm.
We'll let all of them die and we'll take over their country too. But
Mm.
for us to survive.
Yeah, the economy of the hunters. It's like
Hunters, yeah, the economy of the hunters is really important.
yeah, I mean, I think one of the more powerful ones, at least as far as I think, is they actually they do show them in the animation, but I know in the manhwa there's an American one too,
Mm-hmm.
S rank, and he's supposed to be him in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
So these S rank fighters and these dungeons aren't just solely popping up, on Japanese soil. I think they're popping up all
No,
over the
they're
world.
everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
they're everywhere.
Korea,
Yeah,
because Korea has 10 S ranks, Japan submit 10 S ranks, and America sending some of their S ranks.
yeah,
You know, it kind of reminds me of My Hero Academia in that regard. Like
yeah.
you see some of these S ranks come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
In My Hero Academia, they're more friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And in this world, they are your nuclear bombs.
Yeah,
They're your arms race.
yeah.
You know, and Japan had the right to say what they said. We come here to help you, Korea, because we know that if this anthill goes off, right,
Mm-hmm.
they'll wipe
We're
out
gonna have
all
to
of
deal with
y'all
it.
and come kill us.
Yeah, yeah.
And we can't have that. So we'll come and help you. And now so Japan S rank hunters, A ranks and B ranks start disappearing. And they're like, we got to go. We have to go. And they take them. And they feel a certain type of way when Sung Jung Woo shows up. They don't know it's him. They don't know what's going on because they're no longer inside the dungeon. They're
Mm-hmm.
outside the dungeon now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the massacre stops. And the Koreans somehow won. They're like, what do you mean they won?
Mm.
We got massacred in there.
Yeah.
How did they win? What do you mean one person just popped up, just shows up that was not with them? We had no idea who he was. He watched us from above in the arena
Yeah.
and came down to fight and was like nonchalant about it. What do you mean? What's going on? Did they
Yeah.
set us up? Did they not set us up? There's a lot of things that are going on. And the American hunters are like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is gonna get interesting now.
um, I just wanted to say something real quick regarding
Mm-hmm.
solo level and their viewership. And this is
Mm-hmm.
this is according to Google. It said a solo leveling has become a massive hit, surpassing One Piece
One
to
Piece,
become the
yeah.
most rated anime on Crunchyroll with over 600,000 ratings. And it
Mm-hmm.
is also the 17th most popular show on all of IMDb. So if you are curious as to why this is it, you can just look at the ratings. As far as Rotten Tomatoes goes, the tomato meter is a straight up 100%. Period, just straight up 100%.
Yeah. Easily.
The average popcorn meter, just this is just from the regular folks that are voting, is a 93%.
Yeah. If y'all have not watched this is a jewel of a show. Cause there's enough mystery in the show and suspense that you don't know exactly what's going on. And the journey of the protagonist. I don't want to say he's the hero. He's the protagonist.
Yeah,
We have no
I think that's
idea what he
I think that's
really
accurate.
is.
Yeah.
Um, he fights a lot,
Mm,
and the fight scenes are brilliant.
mm.
And when he's not fighting, you're okay with that because you kind of want to know what's really going on in this world. Because more and more things are unlocked to us, and we see a lot more things. Um, with that rating, Centel,
Yeah.
he has an 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, then popcorn 93%.
Yep.
What do you give it on a binge-worthy scale?
I give it an absolute binge out. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably one of the best animated series I've seen since Jujutsu. I still think Jujutsu's better. I do. But for different reasons. The speed of solo leveling is considerably faster. The fight scenes are a lot more intense than Jujutsu. But I can't lie. The characters in Jujutsu are just far more likable. There's more characters to like. But at least in solo leveling, Jin Woo is just dope. He's just awesome. I mean, all the other characters, you don't really might not necessarily get to know them a whole lot on a deeper level, but you do get to know Jin Woo, and Jin Woo steals the show. He is a one man show, and it's awesome. But it gets a total binge out for me. But I still
Okay.
think jujitsu's better.
Yeah. Prior to this, I sent to Rodney a full meal.
Okay.
The reason I gave it a full meal, and I'm moving it up. I'm moving it to a binge worthy.
Okay.
It's cause what you just said there. Jujutsu Kaisen has a lot of personality. There's a lot of personalities there, and it unlocks things in that world a little bit better. Like you find out things they can do in the world, like the Shibuya incident. Man,
Yeah.
there's not much to ever touch the Shibuya incident
Yeah.
because it lets you know it's not what you think it is in here. Um, the creation of a ghetto,
Mm-hmm.
it's not what you think it is. And then in the Shibuya incident, you got a whole different take on ghetto. You're like,
Yes.
whoa,
Yeah.
I did not see that. I think this is more directly right now. They've been direct. They haven't given enough misdirections in this.
Okay.
Right? Everything seems to be, and I think they're setting us up. Like you're setting us up. I don't trust it. I think that's what it is. I do not trust solo leveling.
Yeah.
You know, um, he names his shadow army, and the names they have is like interesting. Why'd you give it
Mm-hmm.
that name? Why'd you give it
Mm-hmm.
that name?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's so interesting the names he gives some of these characters he has.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like Lex Luthor, who's going to stop Superman? Who stops Superman?
Well, that's the thing. That's
Yeah,
the
and
thing.
that's
It's
what we're
like,
watching right now. And
yeah.
what's shocking to me,
Mhm.
I'm waiting for this face to turn heel, and it's gonna freak out the internet when it does happen. Because a lot of people don't think he's faced the whole entire time.
Mm.
And everybody talks about John Cena turning. This may change everything. We'll get into season 4 and that turn to happen, and
Hmm.
everybody be like, "Oh my God, I didn't see that happen." And the whole entire time they've been breadcrumbing this the whole entire time that this is
Mm.
happening. This is
Mm.
happening. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that? So I give it a binge worthy. If y'all want, I give it a binge worthy. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Um, we had like an off-camera discussion, real brief,
Mm-hmm.
about characters that can be OP, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jinwoo's OP. He is. He is.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Right now, it's very entertaining. The only other show that I know that was able to do have somebody OP very well is One Punch. One
Mm-hmm.
Punch. I mean, you know that from the get up. It's in the title.
One Punch Man.
One Punch is all it takes. And to me, that first season of One Punch is incredible. It's just absolutely amazing. Um, so I throw the question back at you: is Jinwoo 2 OP? And if
No.
he is, are they using it? Are they building him up in the right way with his power level being so high?
No, I don't think he's OP. I think we've yet to see the limitations of this power level. Right now, we know that he's the only one that can see the UI interface,
Mhm.
but we're not sure if there's any other S ranks that can actually do it or not.
Hmm.
They have never told us that.
Yeah, that's true.
How do we know if there's not somebody out there pretending to be an S rank and they're really higher than that?
Mm,
Or just they're hiding it.
yeah.
You know, all we know is that he's our guy right now.
Hmm.
And where does he go from here? I don't know.
Now I've heard rumors that was it season 3 is probably a couple of years away. I've heard that. I saw it on socials.
Yeah, I hear that too. I mean,
So
this animation team has to be tired. They did a really good job animating it.
well, let me ask you. So another show that we really love that got some really high marks was Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Invincible got kind of like kicked in the balls second season because it wasn't complete. We had big delays in between part 1 and part 2.
Mm-hmm.
When season 3 came, some people say that there's a noticeable change in some of the animation, but
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
in order to get it out on time,
Mm-hmm.
would you sacrifice the animation that we've really been enjoying in order for Solo Leveling season 3 to come out sooner, or do you want them to take their time to make it something special to see visually?
I see this. I'm torn on this whole topic. I saw how Mappa fell apart with Jujutsu Kaisen
Mm.
towards the end of the Shibuya incident.
Mm,
Yeah, they made it flashy. They it was like half-assed. It's like you saw storyboards as a final animation,
mm,
and I would like for them to go back and redo it.
mm.
Um, and I know they had a timeline to hit, and you can only work people so hard.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of long for seasons again.
Mm,
We're off streaming has changed the way we look at television.
mhm,
And when he launched the beginning of the second season, they're
mhm,
still in the middle of production of that season usually,
mm.
and people are exhausted. It took them a whole year to get the second season launched up. They're 5 episodes in, and they got another 9 to do,
Mm.
and they're working on all of that stuff. Everything's done at the same time, right?
Right.
It's all done at the same time. So you got different people working at different things, and they're touching it up and changing this, and they're making changes, and things aren't testing well, or they're testing very well, but something drops off, so we have to change this,
Mm.
and it doesn't go well because granted they have the manga, the manhwa, or the comic book, or the graphic novel, whatever they have as source material,
Okay.
it has to resonate with the IP owner as well.
Okay.
So
Mm.
Chugang can come in and be like, look, that's not how I really want it. Can y'all
Mm.
change it up a little bit? And that changes the trajectory of everything that it's connected to.
Mm.
Um, I want to give them their fair shake and give them
Okay.
more time, but I don't want that fervor to die. And then I realized I live in the world of anime. As I'm watching Solo Leveling, I'm watching 5 other things too. And some of this stuff can wait.
Mm.
I'd rather for them to bank in 2 seasons and take
Mm.
2 years off because I'm watching an isekai called Shangri-La Frontier
Mhm.
that I think is totally amazing.
Mm.
It is silly. It is fun. The main character is silly, and they figured out how to make animation cheap. They're like, hey, we'll put our main character in a bird mask, and he's stuck in the bird mask with no armor, so it's just him bare chested. We just have him walk around like this most of the time with a rabbit attached to his shoulder. and, and they have made a funny, cheap, fun animation, and I can wait for it then. And they do different things. They're kind of like this because
Mhm.
it's the same concept where he goes into this isekai world in this VR machine. He has the UI in front of him. He upgrades. He becomes more powerful. He faces different beasts. We find that the developers of the show, it does some interesting. Shangri-La Frontier does very similar to this,
Okay.
but the tone is completely different.
Okay.
It is silly and goofy and worth the price of admission. I put them both on the same level, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I put them both on the same level.
Okay. That's
And
that's
Shangri-La Frontier does something that no other anime I've ever done seen.
what's that?
Um, Shangri-La Frontier is the name of the game they're playing,
Okay.
and so when he plays a different game, he does it twice so far. He plays a game called Galaxy of Heroes
Mhm.
with one of the people he plays in Shangri-La Frontier with.
Okay.
Is one of the guys he plays with. It's a fighting game and it's a
Okay.
team fighting game. And they're going to a tournament. And so they changed the name of the show from Shangri-La Frontier to Galaxy Heroes. And so they had the Galaxy Hero
Yeah.
name pop up on it.
Oh, I like that. I
That's
like that.
dope. So,
Yeah.
so there's another game he plays too with robots.
Hmm.
Like it's a robot fighter. And it changes the name of the show to that name too as well for a
Oh,
couple episodes. But Shangri-La Frontier is crazy. It's a VR game. So I
okay.
think that's worth it as well.
I like that. Shangri-La Frontier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I think both of these animes are worth their price of admissions. Very similar, but yet very, very different. And I think they should take their time in making this.
Yeah.
They should show, especially this third season,
Yeah.
they have to show some tender love and care. And I don't know where they are in their manhwa journey,
Hmm.
if they even have enough chapters to even make a third season. They may not have enough chapters to make a third season, and
Oh.
that's important.
Okay.
Um, and besides, I'm waiting for Don Da Don, Mashal. I can name about 15 animes that I'm watching right now live.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about Black Clover, which I'm just now getting deep into. So there's a lot going on. And I think
It's an abundance of
that
riches.
yeah, there's an abundance of, and I heard there's a new season of Licorice Recoil coming out.
Really?
Yeah. And we got Spy Family coming up again.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, we're
Yeah,
watching Spy Family.
it's plenty to
There-
eat.
There's
Like,
n-
yeah,
there's no shortage of streaming material, and there's no rush for any of it.
yeah,
They need to take their time to do this stuff right. We see what rushing gives us. We see what happened to Star Wars, and we saw what happened to Marvel. Them rushing material every 6 months for one of these properties.
yeah,
I don't care if they've been in production for 2 years. They're not baking these stories fully. They're not baking the actors. Some of the actors aren't believable. They're just playing characters that we all respect and love. And we our brain fills in all the missing blanks.
right.
So I want them to take their time.
Yeah, yeah. What's that
Streaming
old?
has changed everything, and it doesn't change everything for the better. Sure, we have more content, but I want it to wait. Like I don't want them rushing Paradise season 2. Hell, I think they need to spend a whole lot of time figuring out what they have there. I don't even think they know what they have there. And I think that's for a lot of shows. That's why we have a lot of weak season 2s. We have a lot of weak season 2s on shows because they're rushing to meet the demand. And I think people will fall off. They'll forget a little bit when it pops back up, and if you market it right, merch
Yeah,
it right to people, they're like, oh yeah, that thing. Let me go back and watch season 1 over again. Now go back
get
and
my
rewatch
fix
it.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What they need to do is do follow-up episodes. You know who doesn't care about any of that? And I think is doing a horrible job with their season 2s is HBO.
Yeah, they used to
H
be the king of the hill,
It
and
used to be
not so
King of the
much anymore.
Hill.
Yeah,
Man, Entourage used to be gone for a whole year and come back in season 3, feel like it didn't miss a step. Sopranos, same thing. Is currently they're having an issue with their current properties. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Take your time. So I lean on the side of the creatives need to take time to bake this stuff
yeah,
and redo things because some things they get season 2 done and they rush to get it done. It's still not good enough. Still not good enough. The third season, the fourth season's not strong enough. Writers leave, crew leaves, directors leave. People blow up after that. Take the time.
so those saying, measure twice and cut once.
Yes,
They need to measure.
I like that. That's good. Cut and sew. Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah. So I'm patient. I'm
Yeah,
patient.
yeah,
I'd rather have good. I'd rather have
yeah,
good than speed.
yeah. And I think a lot is that we don't know how the consumers behave. Well, this is a new world for us too, for everybody, creatives and everybody. We think that customers, in order to keep them, we have to come with fast and speed. Hell, these kids don't know what quality is because their quality is based on TikTok videos made on somebody's cell phone.
That's very true.
King Bosch is damn Spielberg to them.
Yeah.
So they don't know what quality is. I think James Cameron has it right. Take your time. People will come back for it.
If it's good, they will. I mean, if he's proven that time and time again. Um, um, well,
Yep.
would you re-rate anything?
I'm
We're
at a binge worthy.
sticking with binge
I'm
worthy.
with you. We're both at binge worthies. I'm with it from full another binge worthy in this conversation because me talking to you about it made me more excited about this show.
Yeah, yeah, it's
You
good.
know,
It's good stuff. If y'all haven't
yeah.
seen it,
So I'm moving up to a binge worthy.
hop on to Believe the Hype. It's definitely
Yeah,
one of those
it
shows.
it
Believe the
it,
Hype.
it is worth your admission. You know. With that being said, that concludes our show for today. We'll be back in for Friday for Geek Beast for Happy Hour, of course. Thank y'all for tuning in. I forgot what next week's show is going to be. I had to talk to Rakai about that. He's
Oh,
unfortunately in inclement weather right
yeah,
now. Probably watching us on his phone. He probably
yep.
shouldn't be doing that, saving that phone battery just in case.
Exactly. Save that
Save that
battery,
save
man.
that
What you doing?
phone battery. For those that are facing hard weather, this happens somewhere in the world.
Yeah,
Please be careful and be safe out
good
there.
part. Big
We
facts.
live in new times these days, and we have to get used to our new normal.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rodney for being our technical producer, technical director. He kept me on time. I'm kind of overtime, by 6 minutes. Shout out to Digital Click for doing all our marketing materials and our overlays for us. And shout out to Centel and tell people where they can find you, Centel.
Hey man, I appreciate that. You can catch me at Centel, youtube.com/Centel. But
Well,
you can really catch me here at the Geekish Network. That's where
yeah.
you can catch me at.
On the Centel channel, what kind of content can they be looking forward to?
Oh, we do everything from Netflix series. We just got done doing Adolescence, which is a really great show, to movies, old school joints that we're revisiting. It's tons of pop culture. There's some of the more hotter stuff out. We're doing Daredevil. It's a whole lot of stuff out. And if you like international content, there's Cinema Mosaic as well. Thank you so much for allowing me that opportunity to kind of plug that, man. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week with another show that we binge in a week.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right, y'all. We out. Rodney, are you there?